Now it is time to introduce our main speaker for tonight, Mickey. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi everybody, my name's Mickey Bush and I'm a fully conceded alcoholic. Probably an addict too. I don't identify as an alcoholic. You got to talk into it? Oh, it's one of them shitty mics, is it? All right. I don't identify as an alcoholic addict because years ago my sponsor told me if I identified as an alcoholic and an addict, I had to put $2 in the basket. So I'm an alcoholic and probably an addict. Fully conceded alcoholic. That's what I identify as. Thanks, Jason, for inviting me to come and speak here tonight. I've been here many, many times. I've been coming to the Rodeo group for over 30 years. Over 30 years I've been coming here. I think I first spoke here in the original Rodeo venue when I was three years sober. So I'm really glad to have established some creds and some friends along the way. And when people say time don't count around here, in my experience, they either ain't got any or ain't done any. Time sure counts to me. And it sure counted. Every time that judge gave me time, it bloody counted, you know. And in recovery, time counts as well. Time around here, T-I-M-E, this I must earn, you know. And we form friendships and relationships, and we form some histories around here, you know, as we stay clean and sober. Some of you that are new here tonight, you know, on Friday the 13th, 2013, you're going to remember this because you're going to stay clean and sober, and you're going to, like, look back and see some of your friends here and some of your, you know, colleagues, and you're going to do some panels, and you're going to do this program, you're going to work these steps, and you're going to stay clean and sober, and your life's going to change, you know, as mine's changed. When I got to Alcoholics Anonymous on January the 15th, 1983, my life was in ruins. My life was in ruins. Today, my life's in perfect running order. Perfect running order. If you look at the word run and ruin, what's the difference? Come on. I. If you take the word ruin and take out I, it turns to run. If you take run and put a big fat I in there, it turns to ruin. So that tells me a very special little message. I got to get the bloody hell out of the way and let the old man run the show. I call my old man upstairs Gus. He's become Gus. G-U-S, the guy upstairs. And I'm his favourite, you know. That's why he's made me so good looking, because I'm his favourite and he loves me the most. And, you know, he loves you too. You know, I want to thank Michelle for being here all these years. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for just being a part of this thing. I want to thank my big mate Jimmy up the back there, who was here before me, and we trod this path together. And we've done a lot of things together. And he'll be speaking here next week for you guys. And show up, bring a friend, because he's electrifying. You know, I want to thank the people that guided me. I gave Noel a little hug here as she came off. Is it Noel or Leon? It's Noel. Noel or Leon. Left and right, backwards and forwards. You know, when I got to Alcoholics Anonymous on January the 15th, 1983, the guy who was 12-stepping me was at the meeting, and he was an English rock and roll singer I'd known many years, and he came up to me and he put his arms around me. And I went, "Get away from me, what are you doing? Get away from me, you goddamn pervert." He said, "I'm giving you a hug." I went, "Get away from me. I don't do hugs." And today I gave our first speaker, Noel, a hug, H-U-G-S. Hugs help us get sober. And once we're sober, H-U-G-S, help us grow spiritually. You know, I play with words. I like words. Sometimes I'm so bloody sick I can only grab a single word. So I don't want to grab no itty-bitty shitty words, so I write good words so that I can grab a good word, you know. One of the words I like is stay, S-T-A-Y, sober today and yesterday. And we want you to stay. We want you to keep coming back, but we want you to keep coming back to learn how to stay, stick around and stay. You know, I've spoken to some of you tonight, and there's some of us that have relapsed. I was speaking to some folks here tonight that have relapsed several times, you know. If you relapse and go back out, the best you can hope for, the absolute best you can hope for if you relapse and go back out is that you make it back. And there's no real big deal about making it back. I know with our new folk and our people that have relapsed and come back, we try and encourage them to stick around and stay, and you know, we welcome them as newcomers. But they're not really newcomers. They're what I call keep coming backers. You know, so we want you to keep coming back, but we want you to keep coming back to learn how to become a sticker and a stayer. Become a sticker and a stayer around here, you know. And stay with us if you be alcoholic and addict like me, you know. That's what we want you to do. And that's not just what I want you to do. That's what God's will for you is. You know, alcoholics don't like hearing me say that I know God's will for them, but it's true, I do. I know God's will for you. I know God's will for me. You know, God wants you to be clean and sober, happy, joyous and free, helping another one of his kids. If you got a God who don't want that for you, get rid of the bastard. You know, God wants his kids, his alcoholic kids, to be clean and sober, happy, joyous and free, helping another one of his kids. And, you know, Gus, my old Gus upstairs, he says, Mick, I gave you a life. Do with it what you want. But don't hurt one of my kids. That offends me. And I'm not in the business of offending the power that I've come to learn. I learned about higher power, power greater than self, God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Muhammad, and all the other nouns here. When I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, well-meaning people, at least I hope they're well-meaning, you know, said to me, let go and let God. What? Turn it over to God. What? Pray to God. What? Pray to God? Are you nuts? If I pray to him, he'll know where I am. You know, I wasn't going to pray to no God that was going to get me for everything. Everything I did, God was going to get me for it. They told me, God will get you for that, God will get you for that. I couldn't even play with the old ding-a-ling, for Christ's sake. They said, don't you play with that, God will strike you blind. You know? Well, you know I did anyway. You know, you tell an alkie not to do something and he'll do it, so I did. When I found out how good it felt, I thought, well, I'll risk one eye. You know. But I weren't having nothing to do with that God shit, and the God shit nearly run me out of here. I heard that God shit, didn't want to know nothing about that. I'm gone. As I was running away, some Native American brothers said to me, Mick, why are you running away? I said, because I can't fly, that's why I'm running. They said, come and sit with us, come and sit with us and we'll chit-chat to you and perhaps give you a different fuzzy feeling about some of this stuff, broaden that horizon for you. I said, oh, okay. So I did, and I sat with them. And they taught me about the Great Spirit. And they taught me about Father Sky, Mother Earth, brothers and sisters, family, F-A-M-I-L-Y, Father and Mother, I love you. You know, we're all his kids. If you're his kid, I'm his kid. If I'm his kid, you're his kid. You're my brother from another mother, sister from another mister, you know. And we either all is or we all ain't. And the Great Spirit loved everything he created equally. You know, from the smallest blade of grass to the Empire State Building. And he loves you, he loves me, he loves me, he loves you. And I went, wow, what a concept. This was so different to that on your knees, sinner, method that I hated that. I couldn't stand that. I was, raised in a religion and it was terrible. I hated it. Even when I didn't really know no better, when I was just a kid, 10 or 11 years old, You know, my dad, he was a member of the CIA, you know, Catholic Irish alcoholic, and he whacked me one day and went, "Go to confession," you know. And I'm a kid, you know, I don't know, and I go into this confessional box in this church, and, you know, it's all dark, and it's a dingy little hole, and there's some pervert behind a curtain, you know, and, you know, I'm all scared and angst, and I was, you know, frightened and aggressive, but I thought, I know I'd get even with them, so I took a shit in the corner of the confessional, didn't I, you know. You know. Well, the parish priest, big Irish community, you know, big Irish community. The parish priest on Sunday, he wasn't so bloody holy. I mean, the parish priest, he instilled fear in the parishioners. No, upset the parish priest. Parish priest was going ballistic, standing at the pulpit, veins popping on his head. Oh, shit in the confessional, you know, and everybody's walking, oh, my God, somebody shit in the confessional. All except me, sneaky little bastard, 10 years old, laughing up my sleeve, you know. The next week, I went prepared. I went in the other side, left a note, said the phantom shitter strikes again. You know. Did a big turd in that one too. They went nuts, and you know. But that's how much I hated it, and what kind of a kid and that's what I grew up. That's what I did, you know. Are there any weird people here tonight? Yeah, and the rest of you lying mothers. I know weirdos when I see them. You know, all my life people say, "What is wrong with you? What the hell's wrong with you? For Christ's sake, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you?" And they would ask me what's wrong with me as if I knew. What is wrong with you? Huh. Oh. Well, actually, I've got a twofold disease. It's an obsession of the mind, allergy of the body. I can't control my drinking. I don't know what's wrong with me. What's wrong with you? Why do you drink like you do? Why don't you drink like I do? Because I don't know, see. I have no idea. I have no idea why I do what I do. When I was just a little kid, when I was just 6 or 7, just a little kid, and kids, you know, develop survival techniques. And it was so devastating and so painful and dysfunctional where I came from that, you know, my survival technique, that I couldn't stand what people were saying. I couldn't stand being told, and people would say shit to me, and I would mentally change it to something I liked and then blame you for telling me. And people would say, "What's wrong with this kid? There's something wrong with this kid. He'll get you in trouble, this kid. Lock him away. Put him away somewhere." So I was put away in homes, and I was incarcerated and stuff. And I don't know. I'm a little kid. I don't know nothing. And that's where I grow up. I grow up just mentally different. And I grow up not understanding things in the same way that normal people do. You know, I don't collate things the same way as other people do. I just don't. I mean, people say things to me and I don't hear it the way they've said it. I don't know whether you got a hearing problem or not, but I do. I don't hear shit right. You know, it don't matter. It never happened just because I got here. Long before I got here, it was happening. Long before I got to Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean, and it ain't gone away totally. I was back there, and as I came down those stairs over there, a girl squeezed past me. She said, "Excuse me." I said, "Seduce you? I've got to speak at the meeting. I can't seduce you." She went, "No." I said, "Excuse me." But, you know, in my head, same as the first day I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, as I approached that meeting, 2 dudes standing outside in West Hollywood there, architects meeting. One of them steps forward with his hand out. I said, "What do you want?" He went, "I want to welcome you to AA." I said, "What?" He said, "Welcome to Alcoholics Anonymous." I went, "What?" And the other guy stepped forward. He said, "Keep coming back." I thought he said, "Keep coming on my back." I said, "What?" He said, "Keep coming back." I said, "What for?" He said, "We love you." I said, "I bet you do." You know? When dudes tell you they love you in West Hollywood, you get a bit nervous. You know, and that was my introduction. I don't know nothing about nothing when I get here. I don't know nothing about 2 dudes being greeters at meetings, welcoming wet drunks like me. I don't know nothing about alcoholics participating in their own recovery, doing their commitments, participating in their group, home group, sponsor, steps, work and everything. I don't know none of this. I have no idea. I know nothing about nothing when I get here. When I get to Alcoholics Anonymous, I know nothing about nothing. I knew absolutely nothing about nothing when I got here. I was like the first page of this beautiful book, blank, you know. And, you know, I was so sick when I got here. I was so sick that I didn't know I was sick. Do you know how sick that is? Do you know how sick it is to be so sick that you don't know you're sick? That's really sick. And if you're as sick as I was and you come into a meeting full of alkies like this one, good alkies seems to me, and you scan the room and you think, well, I ain't as sick as him. Do you know how sick that is? Do you know how sick it is to be in a meeting full of alkies thinking you ain't as sick as the next guy? That's really sick. So if you're here tonight wondering whether you is or whether you isn't a real alcoholic or not, I want you to know that I can relate to being as sick as you don't think you are. You know, really sick, and I never knew. Of course I do today. I wrote a word, sick, S-I-C-K, spiritually ill can kill. And I was dying of a disease I didn't even know I had. Now, a lot of you folks know why you are, what you are and everything else. I never when I got here. I don't know why I do what I do. I've always done it, and I'm from northwest London. You probably picked up on that, right? This is the way I speak, folks. Alcohol didn't do this to me. You know, I'm from northwest London, and where I come from, everybody drinks. I don't know why we drink. We never ask why we drink. Everybody just drinks. We never had a reason to drink, never had a reason not to drink. Everybody just drank. We drank if the team won, we drank if the team lost. If it was a tie, we drank till there was a result. Don't know why, we just did. As you can tell, my team's Manchester United. There's the cap right there, my religion. You know? And we just drank. Don't know why. Nobody ever asked why. I come in here, all you folk know why you're doing it. I've heard it here tonight. I've heard folks talking about why they drank. I've heard people talking about drinking because they couldn't stand who they was, and they drinking because they were covering up the pain, and they drinking because they had all these issues. Like, pass the tissues, I got issues. You know, and I think, at what stage of the game do you discover that? I can't even imagine that, me. I cannot imagine going into any pub I ever drank at and saying, oh, bartender, hit me with a triple shot of your best booze. Because I can't stand who I am and I want to cover up the pain tonight. Never happened. Never happened. Mr. Dealer Man, give me an extra rock of crack cocaine because I really feel inadequate. Never happened. Never happened. I have no idea why I do what I do. I'm just doing it, always done it. People say in Alcoholics Anonymous, I wouldn't swap my worst day sober for my best day using. And I think, I don't know where you drank. I don't know where you drank. I had a great time for years. I mean, it was great. Drinking and drugging was great. You know, we robbed and cheated and lied and screwed our way around the planet a couple of times drinking and drugging. It was great. Then it weren't so great, but it weren't bad. And then it kind of got bad, but not real bad. And then it kind of got real bad, but not as bad as you. And then it got as bad as you, but not as bad as I'd seen it. And then it got as bad as I'd seen it, and then it got January 15th, 1983. Wow. Real bad. I didn't know at the time what was happening, the same as Noelle was talking about how she gradually learned what was cool from her sisters and other things like that, and she just learned all that. Well, I did the same, but in recovery. I didn't know anything about nothing. I knew nothing about nothing. When I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I never knew what was happening when I was here. Now, I'm not an idiot. I'm not just good looking, you know, I'm smart. I got like street creds, I got academics, I got, you know, I got a PhD for heaven's sake. Pretty heavy drinker. But I knew nothing about nothing. I never knew what was going on. I never had a clue about what was going on and why I did what I did. And I never knew, you know, what the consequences of what I was doing was going to be. Same as when I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I never knew what I was learning here. Maybe you don't. I hadn't been here very long, and a rough, gruff old guy got to me, and he said, "Come on, Mick, we're going to the Tuesday night meeting, wash the cups." I said, "I don't want to wash the cups." He said, "We'll go and get drunk." I said, "I don't want to get drunk." He said, "Well, come and wash the cups." I said, "All right, go and wash the cups." Big ass, chunky ass cups, mugs they was, not delicate little cups like we got here. 200 of the bastards. I'm up to my elbows in water, washing cups. You know, an hour after everybody's gone home, we're locking up the meeting and like we're washing cups. Felt like a right dick. You know. During the week, he said, "Don't forget, Mick," he said, "if they let us, we'll go and wash the cups on Tuesday night." I said, "We washed the cups last week." He said, "They'll need washing again. If they'll let us, we'll go and wash the cups." I said, "I don't even wash my own cups." He said, "We'll go and get drunk." I said, "I don't want to get drunk." He said, "Come and wash the cups." I said, "All right, wash the cups." All over again. Hour after everybody's gone home, I'm at the sink, you know, washing bloody cups. They had butts in them then because they smoked in meetings then as well. It was horrible, ugly. You know. 4 months this lasted. 4 months I'm washing 200 hairy-ass cups at the Tuesday night meeting. One day I'm washing the cups at this meeting. Guy came and stood at the end of the sink. I said, "What do you want?" He said, "Sponsor said I've got to wash the cups." I said, "What cups?" He said, "I guess them cups." I said, "Piss off and get your own cups. These are my cups. You ain't having my cups. Go and wash your own bloody cups." And of course I didn't know that Alcoholics Anonymous was working in my life, and you guys were teaching me how to change who I was, to become different to what I was, so that I didn't have to drink over not changing. In the doctor's opinion, in the beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous, this beautiful book, it says, we learned we had to fully concede to our innermost self that we were alcoholic, and I didn't know what that was. And unless he can induce an entire psychic change, there is very little hope of his recovery. Why we have to change is so that we don't drink over not changing. I think one of the worst things we can tell a new guy is just be yourself. Just be your bloody self? Are you crazy? Why do we say things like that? Just be yourself. If it's okay for you to be who you are, why don't you go home to your loved ones and family members and say, "Hey, is it all right for me to carry on doing what I've been doing?" If they say, "Yes, we think you're a fine fellow," let me know about it. That wasn't for me. It wasn't okay for me to be who I was. I had to change who I was, and I couldn't in and of myself do that. I had to come here and learn from you guys and learn what to do and how to do it, and then learn how to apply it to all my affairs. I didn't know, for example, you know, basic simple things. I didn't know what it meant to be an alcoholic, why I identify as a fully conceited alcoholic, because it's what I call the step before the steps, you know. "Hey, Jim, grab that guy. Don't let him run away. Look, he's took off. You know, come and sit the fuck down." Sick bastard, you need to hear this message. See, it says we learned we had to fully concede to our innermost self that we were alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. It's not the first of the 12 steps. That's a totally different step. And in the first of the 12 steps, there's nothing that says anything about admitting we're alcoholic. People get it confused, but it's not. The first step in recovery is to learn to fully concede to your innermost self that we are alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. It's what I call the step before the steps. And I didn't know what it was about me that made me alcoholic. Guess what, folks? A lot of you don't either. How do I know that? Because I ask. That's why. I ask folks all the time. If I got to fully concede to my innermost self that I'm alcoholic and I don't know what it is about me that makes me alcoholic, I can't fully concede. And if it's the first step in recovery, that's going to be the foundation that I'm going to build a sobriety on, and that foundation is shaky. We all know what happens to anything you build on a shaky foundation, don't we? So I had to learn. Now, what I hear most of is not, "Will you help me? Will you teach me? Can you help me? I want to learn." Everybody knows everything. The most common thing I hear is, "I know, I know, I know," followed by "yeah, but," "I know, yeah, but," "yeah, but." The mating call of arseholes. You know, I know, yeah, but. It don't say I know, yeah, but it says we learned, and we learned from the folks who went before me, like the rough, tough old guy that grabbed my ass. You know? What is it about me that makes me alcoholic? What it is about me that makes me alcoholic isn't what I do because I'm alcoholic. What it is about me that makes me alcoholic isn't the consequences and the results of being alcoholic. There's something specific about us alcoholics that differentiates us from the non-alcoholic. And that's a very subtle difference that a lot of people don't seem to grasp. What is it about me that makes me alcoholic isn't what I do because I'm alcoholic. And when you ask folks, they say, well, one's too many, 1,000 ain't enough. Once I start, I can't stop. I can't control and enjoy my drinking. You know, I've got a twofold disease, obsession of the mind, allergy of the body, and all that. Once I put a drink in my body of any kind, no, that's not what makes me alcoholic. That's a consequence and a result of being alcoholic, but that's not what makes me alcoholic. What makes me alcoholic is something that differentiates us from the normal folk. The doctor says, you know, that there's something different about us. Something that separates me from my three sisters and brother. Something that separates us from the ACRONYMS. You know, my three sisters and brother are not alcoholic. I'm alcoholic. Same blood, same family, same environment, same everything. I is, they ain't. They don't know why I drink. I don't know why they don't. I ask them, why don't you drink? They say, I don't like it. I say, what? What don't you like about it? They say, well, if I have one too many, I feel sick. I say, sick? You got to drink past that. Who stops at sick, for Christ's sake? You know, I puke, but I don't stop drinking. They don't laugh. They think I'm weird, you know. Al-Anons. Any Al-Anons in here tonight? A couple of hands raised. Look. I knew there were some Al-Anons in here. I could feel myself being released, you know. I'd love to be an Al-Anon. I wish I was an Al-Anon. Al-Anons have got our beautiful, wonderful 12-step program, and they can drink. That's good shit, isn't it? You know, how'd you like that? That's a doozy. But you see, we're different than them. What it is about us that makes us alcoholic is what was described to me in the beginning, the duck and the eagle story. A guy got up in my face and said, you're an alcoholic. I said, why did you say that? He said, because if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and sounds like a duck and smells like a duck, it's a bloody duck. Just because he's been taking some shit and thinks he's an eagle, no, you're a duck. You're a duck, I'm a duck. Quack, quack. I'm like, damn. This is the bloody funny farm. Guys loving on you and shit, and ducks and eagles and shit. But what he was doing was breaking down the barriers for me to understand what it was about me that made me alcoholic, because I didn't know. And maybe you don't know. And listen up. What it is about us that makes us alcoholic is that alcohol changes my perception of reality. Now, I know everyone in the room knew that, unless I'd asked you first. Alcohol changes me from a duck to an eagle. I go out drinking as a delicate little duck, have a few stiff ones, turn into an eagle, go swooping around looking for prey. Mary in my home group down there in Santa Monica, she puts it as well as I've ever heard anybody put it. She's a delicate little dudette, bad-ass drunk is Mary. She says when she drinks, she feels wittier, prettier, and tittier. And I know exactly what she means, you know. Alcohol changes my perception of reality, just like I was doing as a little kid. When I was a little kid, what I was actually doing by changing what people said to me, I was changing the reality that I couldn't stand. When I found alcohol and drugs, that's what alcohol and drugs did for me for the longest time, right up until January the 15th, 1983. It changed my perception of reality. Why did I want to change in perception of reality? Because I can't stand reality, that's why. I hate reality, and I hate you in reality. Screw you and reality. That's why I wrote the word sober. S-O-B-E-R, son of a bitch, everything's real, you know. I don't like real, screw real. And alcohol, and in my case drugs, D-R-U-G-S, devil's revenge, upon God's subject, you know, was the cushion between me and reality. And it worked for a long, long time. It worked great for a long, long time. Till January the 15th, 1983, when two things happened that I never realised was happening at the time. Yeah. What happened on January the 15th, 1983? Two things. One was I hit bottom, which isn't mentioned in the programme of Alcoholics Anonymous. And the other was that alcohol and drugs stopped working. People are confused when I say that because they think alcohol and drugs is still working in their life. They're still getting high or they're still getting drunk. That's not what I'm talking about. Alcohol and drugs will affect every human body regardless. So it's not about not getting high and not getting drunk. Alcohol and drugs was still rotting my liver. It was still getting me locked up in clink. It was still rotting my teeth. But it wasn't any longer changing my perception of reality. And here I am in this rotten world with you rotten people doing rotten shit, and I can't stand it. And alcohol and drugs isn't changing my perception of reality anymore. And I'm screwed. I don't know what you brought to recovery, but what I brought was a lot of hurt and hate. Hurt and hate, that's what I brought here. Hurt and hate. And I hurt and I hate everything and everybody. Hated women. I can't stand women. I hated homos and queers and anybody different. I hated black people. I was totally racist and prejudiced. I was from London, England, living in Los Angeles, and I hated foreigners. I couldn't stand me. I hated you, and get away from me and don't come near me. And with all that torment and turmoil going on inside, I still had to try and present to you a picture of somebody you would like. Because when your higher power is what people think of me, if you don't like me, I'm screwed. And alcohol and drugs is no longer doing its job. It's no longer making that be all right. The beautiful book tells me, in the doctor's opinion, we are restless, irritable, and discontent unless we can again experience a sense of ease and comfort, which comes at once from taking a couple of drinks they see other people taking with impunity. My 3 sisters and brother can drink with impunity. They don't even like the effect produced by alcohol. You know. That's what I brought to Alcoholics Anonymous. I hit bottom on January the 15th, 1983, and I didn't know about it at the time. And guess what? A lot of you guys don't know either. You may be relieved to know after tonight, but right now a lot of people don't understand what hitting bottom's all about. They think, believe and say they do, but they actually don't. In the beautiful 12 and 12 that I see over on the literature table there, which Bill wrote 12 years after he wrote the big book Alcoholics Anonymous, he mentions nothing about hitting bottom in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. But in the 12 and 12, in the very first step, he says, why all this insistence that every alcoholic must hit bottom first? Now, if you think about it, that's some ballsy shit to say to a bunch of drunks. Drunks who don't like authoritative figures and being told what to do, maybe like I'm doing here. But it was so important that he insisted. Now, I asked my troops that I work with, because I work with a lot of troops in the trenches. I always say, have you hit bottom? Bill says that we have to hit bottom first. Have you hit bottom? One little couple that I'm very fond of, they love being clean and sober. The little chickadee, I asked her, I said, have you hit bottom, love? She said, yes. I said, I'm curious, tell me about it. She said, it's easy, Mick. I was feet to the curb, hustling the Broadway, prostituting myself, trying to earn $1 so I could get loaded. I said, that wasn't your bottom. She said, well, I think it was. I said, I don't care what you think. I said to her, dude, have you hit bottom, pal? Yes, Mick, he said. I said, tell me about it. He said, it's easy. I was locked up in a penitentiary, married to Bubba. I said, that wasn't your bottom. He said, it felt like it was. You know, see, hitting bottom isn't about the outside circumstances and conditions of our life like most people think. When you consider what your bottom was, don't consider it as being the outside circumstances and condition of your life. Hitting bottom's an inside job, not an outside circumstance. Sometimes those outside circumstances enable us to become capable of hitting bottom, but in and of themselves, they're not the bottom, and to believe that they are is very dangerous for us. Because as those outside circumstances and conditions get better and improve, we falsely believe we've gotten better and improved and drink again. Hitting bottom's an inside job. That's what happened to me. January 15th, 1983, and it happened for you. Hitting bottom's the same for all of us if we understand it, not different. I know in our meetings we say everybody's bottom's different. Better not be different. There's no unity in being different. January the 15th, 1983, without knowing what I was saying, who I was saying it to, and what the results of what I was saying was going to be. In desperation and despair, I had the gift of desperation, G-O-D, gift of desperation, and without knowing what I was saying, doing, or who it was to, I can remember very clearly going, help me, please help me, what is wrong with me? And asked for help from outside of myself. And although I'd abandoned him, he hadn't abandoned me. And when I turned to him and asked for help, he seemed to be looking over my shoulder and he seemed to say, Mick, get yourself over that 12-step fellowship, sent me to you. Here was the power that he'd provided for an alcoholic of my kind, your kind, our kind, to not have to drink today. If you have trouble with the God shit like I did, there's no need for it. No need of what to. Look at the first 2 steps. There's no mention of God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Muhammad, or any other noun. Higher power is not even mentioned. It says a power greater than self. And here it is, right here. There's not one person in this room tonight powerless over alcohol. That sounds sacrilegious, doesn't it? Because everybody thinks they're powerless. That's an old idea. If you look at the first step, it's written in the past tense. We admitted we were powerless, that my life had become unmanageable. Not that I am powerless and it is unmanageable. It was when I was out there on my own, but I ain't out there on my own anymore. I'm here with you. Me plus you is a power greater than me. You plus us is a power greater than you. Together we can do what I couldn't do alone. I couldn't stay sober, you couldn't stay sober, but together we can stay sober. We can do what I couldn't do. And in the big, big book, the Bible, B-I-B-L-E, being informed before leaving earth, it says, when any two are gathered in my name, there I will be in your midst. I went, wow, that's what we do here in AA. 2 alkies come together for the purpose of recovery. God comes in our midst and produces a power greater than either of us. So it's produced by us, but it's greater than us, and we can absolutely depend upon it to not have to drink today, right here, right now. Right here, right now, in this very room, right here, is so much power over alcohol. There's not one person in this room powerless over alcohol. Not while they're here. I know people say that, but they don't know what they're talking about. There's so much power in this. We have to have a power greater than ourselves that we, in this room, that we can take out there so that we ain't got to drink out there, haven't we? Look, Jimmy and me and a couple of folks, we're going to go and have something to eat. We'll be probably in a restaurant or somewhere where there's booze and people funning. It's like Friday night. If we haven't got a power to enable us alkies to not have to drink tonight, and this disease makes me do what I already don't want to do, and I can't not do it just because I don't want to, I'll have to drink. So I must have a power. Why do I say I'm powerless? People do that because it's lip-flapping party line bullshit. That's what it is. They hear it in here, and so they repeat it, and they grow and learn from it. But I'm telling you, it's not true. There's nobody in this room powerless over alcohol. Not if you stay here with us. Whatever concept you've got of a power greater than yourself, and in the beautiful book it says he can choose any concept he likes, provided it makes sense to him. We don't care what you believe in. We don't care what makes sense to you. Nobody cares, as long as it makes sense to you. But you know what? There seems to be perhaps 100 people in the room tonight. There might be 100 different concepts of a God. 100 different concepts of a power greater than self, whatever you want to term it as. But guess what? All those 100 powers have all got at least one thing in common. Know what that is? All the gods send their alkies here. Because here's the power they provided for an alkie to not have to drink today. So why would I say I'm powerless? To me, that sounds like the disease getting me to deny the power that's in my life. Don't do that. Come here and join the power. Come and connect with the power. Come and be a small part of this great whole. I love that. I love being a small part of this great whole. It's absolutely imperative to me. I know I get a lot of juice. Some people in the room tonight have told me I saved their life. I said, well, we all know who saves the lives around here, but if you want to give me the credit, I'll take it. I was just at the old home group over there in San Fernando Valley recently, and went to the old home group, see how they're doing. And Came out of the meeting, a couple of celebrity actresses, Academy Award-winning actresses that you all know by name, known them many years. Said, Mick, I haven't seen you in a while. I said, yeah, I don't live in the neighbourhood anymore. But I thought I'd come to the old home group, see how you're all doing. One of them said, Mick, I didn't realise what a celebrity you'd become in Alcoholics Anonymous. I said, what? She said, I'm making a movie in New York, she said, and I went to 2 meetings in New York, and in both the meetings they quoted you, they mentioned you by name. You're like this AA guru type dude who goes all over, like this AA celebrity. I said, yeah, fucking big deal, a celebrity in an anonymous program. I said, no, you're a celebrity, I'm just a small part of a great whole, and you're just as invaluable as I am, the newest newcomer to the oldest fart. We're all just here doing one thing, helping each other to stay clean and sober, doing together what we couldn't do apart, doing God's will for us. God wants you clean and sober, happy, joyous and free, helping another one of his kids. Isn't that amazing? Alcoholics Anonymous. Look, I'll tell you what it means to me. ALCOHOLICS, Alcoholics. ANONYMOUS, Alcoholics Anonymous. A life centred on helping others lives in complete sobriety. Actions, not our names, yield maintenance of unity and service, which is our 3 legacies. Recovery, unity, service. Those folks out there, they don't understand us. We do here together. Stay with us. My own mum didn't know me as much as you folk. Never seen me before, might not see me again. Know me better than my own mum. I used to go home to London, England, see my mum before she passed just recently. First thing I'd do, I'd hit the shores of the UK, I'd go round to her house, I'd knock her up and I'd tell her, Mum, I'm 30 years sober. She'd say, so is the cat. You know. She don't give me no pat on the back for not doing something I shouldn't have done anyway. It used to drive her nuts when I would come home. When I was living in her house, when I was drunk, I would come home and she would be in her bed like the good woman she was, and I'd come home ripped and shit-faced, and she'd hear everything going on. She'd yell out down the stairs, drunk again, son! And I'd go, so am I, Mum. You know, and she'd say, I'm not bloody drunk, I've been in bed since 8 o'clock, the hell's wrong with you? But I ain't wrong with me today. I'm here with you, and I'm staying, and I'm going to keep coming back. And if I'm here another 27 years before I speak here again, I'm going to keep coming back. My telephone number is 818 area code, are you sober? 818 RUSOBER. Got it? 818, not 800, you cheap bastards. 818 RUSOBER. I'm immensely privileged to be an active member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Namaste.